I touched the button in the middle of the screen, and a quick blue flash filled the room. I turned my phone screen towards me and looked at the photo I had just taken. I was smiling, and my new fluffy kitten was nestled into my arm, looking off to one side. I gently placed her onto the bed, where she sat down and curled a thick white tail around delicate black paws and blinked at me slowly with bright green eyes. She had been the only female in the litter, and instead of being covered in lots of black patches like her siblings, she had only one black patch on her cheek and four matching black paws. Today I was able to bring her home, and was taking lots of pictures to remember the day. On the bedside table was a little red collar with a bell. I picked it up, tore off the price tag, and fastened it around her neck. I walked over to the bed and sat as she wandered curiously around the room, and eventually towards the old antique mirror in the corner of the room. I watched amused as she curiously sniffed at her reflection, fogging up the glass briefly with each breath. I began scrolling through my recent photos, deleting those I was unhappy with. Meanwhile, my tiny cat had begun growling at the mirror, fluffing herself up to twice her size, baring her teeth. Her reflection mimicked her, hissing and spitting right back. I laughed as I watched her reach out a paw to strike at the glass, and then bounce backwards. She made one last snarl at the mirror before turning and fleeing under the bed. "Silly kitty," I muttered. I sat up to retrieve her from under the bed when I noticed a white flash by the mirror. The kitten's reflection was still there, frozen in a snarl, staring directly into the room. It slowly reached out one paw and rested its pink pads on the other side of the glass before it rippled like water. The kitten pressed harder, and the reflection, limb by limb, crawled out of the mirror and stepped delicately, paw by paw, into my room. It briefly glanced at me before it focused its attention onto the bed and darted under. High-pitched squealing echoed around the room, and two snarling balls of fur locked together rolled out from under the bed, tufts of white fur flying, two collar bells tinkling. One of them started to scrabble away, but the other pounced onto its back and hammered with its hind paws, causing the pinned kitten to wail in agony. Teeth dug into her neck, paws filled as one of the cats dragged the other by the scruff towards the mirror in the corner. I sat, stunned, positive I was hallucinating. The two fighting cats sprang apart briefly and stood panting, tails flicking, fur bristling, staring each other down. I looked from one to the other, trying to work out which cat was which. I desperately tried to remember which side she had her black patch on. One had a black patch on its left cheek, the other on its right, perfectly mirrored. I panicked and grabbed my phone, fumbling to turn the unlock screen and see the photos. The most recent picture I had taken popped up, a white kitten in my arms with a black patch on its right cheek. I put my phone down and crept towards the two cats, on the verge of springing at each other again, and grabbed the kitten with the patch on its left. It squirmed and struggled in my arms, sinking its teeth into my skin and shredding my arm with its thorn-sharp claws. I pressed it against the glass as hard as I could. Like water, the glass rippled and the imposter plopped to the carpet on the other side of the glass. It crouched, ready to jump back out. Terrified, I kicked the mirror as hard as I could and left a huge crack running jagged from bottom to top. My own reflection was mirroring my actions. I kicked again and again until shards of glass fell out of the frame and rained onto the carpet. Breathing heavily, I looked back at my kitten, who was staring wide-eyed at me. I scooped her up and carried her to the bed, cuddling her as she trembled. As I was about to place her down, I noticed my phone still lit up with a picture of us, and my stomach flipped as I spotted the post in the background had the words written backwards. I had used my phone's front camera and snapped mirror images.